bring the fire to the feed every day of the week. Post so fly, they'll make heads spin. Followers climb like your building's within. No time to waste, you got deals to close. Mobile's got your back, making content that
Good morning. Welcome to Social Surge with Fly and Mo. Gotta go live on the gram. New time for Social Surge. 6:30 a.m.
I would be more on time.
You thought you'd be more on time?
Well, you want to
Dr.
know
Vermont? What is up, my buddy?
I'm less stressed.
Holly Pennington's joining us over on the gram, too.
And she's ready. She's like, I'm here at this new time. I see you.
Right? Yeah, we're doing 6:30 from now on, which is a little bit like little different for us since the last year and some change. We have been at 6 a.m. my time, Pacific time. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Surge. Fly and I are going to be talking about the LinkedIn playbook that CRE brokers are ignoring. Now, there was a new report that came out. That's part of the stuff that we do is we follow all the reports, and especially at the beginning of the year, usually first quarter, there's a bunch of data that gets dumped, like a bunch of data. And today we're talking about one of those reports. Oh, it's DB. Thanks, DB. Thanks for joining. And good morning, Regalado Real Estate. Appreciate you being here. So we're actually going to be going over those. We're going to be going over. Whoop, sorry about that.
We're going to be going. Okay, I like that one. When are we going to release a playlist? We should we should get it on Spotify. That's one thing. Sorry to just derail you right out of the gate, but I do, Spotify and a lot of the other more traditional media entertainment apps are getting very like content-y, right? Like being able to listen to and watch podcasts on Netflix, right? Spotify is, having, I still to this day, like a little video will pop up right on my homepage from somebody I know. I'm like, on Spotify. I don't know. So commercial real estate, music, let's do it. But LinkedIn, hello, good morning. Good morning, Alan. You
hate the new time. I'm so sorry. We did the new time because Miss Fly has a little one still at home, and it was becoming quite a challenge for her to get her out the door to school and back at that time. So we're like, you know what? Let's just remove the friction. We can do this at 6:30. We can do this at any time we want because guess what? It's our show.
Yeah, you can catch the replay. And yeah, also too, just you want to know what? Things evolve. Right? Circumstances occur, right? So, well, you want to know what? Pump. All right, we got to hype Alan up while he's pumping the iron. Okay, let's get to it. Now I understand the assignment now. Okay, all right, let's go.
So the 2026 LinkedIn benchmarks report dropped, and it's not surprising some of the things that it came up with. It is surprising in some of the other stuff. So surprisingly, engagement is up because for a lot of the bigger accounts that I manage, engagement's actually down, which is something is something that I have seen and something that they do mention. Video content is down. Carousels are absolutely what you should be doing on LinkedIn, and growth is slowing. So don't be surprised if your numbers aren't as good as they once were for years prior. Here's the other thing, though. LinkedIn in the last couple months has gone through and got rid of a bunch of the bots. They've gotten rid of a bunch of the fake accounts, and they're deprioritizing, that's the word, deprioritizing engagement farming. What is engagement farming? Well, it's when you get a pod of people who all work together. They go and they comment on somebody else's post that's within that pod whenever they post, and then everybody does it back and forth. That is manufactured engagement. That is not true engagement, because what they're doing is they're trying to work a strategy. But the biggest thing that is happening with that is the fact that they're deprioritizing those accounts where they're catching that stuff happening. So if you are engaged in engagement pod farming or engagement farming, don't be surprised if your engagement starts to tank. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with some of these other social media accounts / agencies / managers who are actually doing this type of stuff. And so Alan says, my impressions are through the roof. What's up with that? Alan, here's the thing with what you're doing. You're posting consistently. I'm seeing you post just about every single day. That's one of the things. 2, you're staying within your vertical, within your what you've been talking about consistently. And that's exactly what LinkedIn is looking at. You are showing yourself as a person of value and that you have something valuable to say. So that is why your impressions are more than likely going up. So kudos to you for doing that. The ones that are consistently talking about the same things and showing their value proposition and providing, they're doing the 3 E's consistently: engage, entertain, and educate. And so what is happening with that is that the algorithm is rewarding you for being consistent in doing that. So what we're going to be breaking down today is what kind of engagement is actually, like, what kind of content is actually getting engagement now.
Yeah.
What your content isn't doing for you, formats that you should be using to stay top of mind, and how to turn your content into a deal pipeline, not just a highlight reel. So definitely pay attention to what we're talking about today. And let's kind of dive into it. So one of the first things that this is just a little side rant for today. I really get super irritated when people are on other platforms bitching about other platforms.
Girl, yes, I wanted to get in here with that, and I'm so glad you brought it up.
I see the floor to Sister Fly.
No. You want to know what? You very kindly yielded to me last week. And you want to know what? I'm thirsty for a rant. Let me take a big old sip just and tuck in. Let's go, guys. I want to hear it.
It's the same shit I've said before. Like, your For You page, your stuff on what happens on your profile is based on you. It is a reflection of you. If you don't like something on your social platform, regardless of what social platform it is, it is because of you. You are responsible, nobody else. So quit bitching about, oh, I don't like LinkedIn. LinkedIn's not great. It's so stupid, blah, blah, blah. I love my freaking LinkedIn feed. I love my Twitter feed, my X feed. I love my Instagram feed. Why? Because I've curated that shit, okay? It is a reflection of me. I like it. I enjoy it. If you don't want to put the time in, that's one thing. But do not complain about another platform just because you have not spent the time on there to actually curate it and generate actual engagement. Okay, rant done.
Ooh, I love it. It was juicy. It was accurate. It was tight. I said all those things on my LinkedIn. Why
did you?
It was juicy. It was tight. I love a tight, juicy rant. And then, like, look, you want to know what? Nick Ihorn. Oh man, comment section is popping off, you guys. Cool kids versus not. Yes. I love the Mean Girl comparison. That Dwayne, can you and I start a podcast that's like movie reviews and commercial real estate?
I know, and music. Oh my gosh.
And music. Okay, we needed that actually really needs to be the thing. I need because in my mind, Dwayne Barres is an arbiter of culture and taste.
Okay, Mr. Aaron Harris, MySpace was so much better than LinkedIn. I freaking loved MySpace. You could personalize everything. That's where all these coders got their beginning, right? Like going in and changing all the code and stuff and changing their colors. Like MySpace, that was beautiful.
Millennial girls understand HTML on a soulful cellular level that nobody will understand. That you had to be there. Okay, but here's what I know. Nick Ihorn is here, everyone. I'm just like, I'm losing my mind. But here's the thing is that I do think that particular okay, so like what we have said before, and actually I was on Ray Kang's podcast, Resolute Real Estate. They're super fun guys anyway, but we were talking about the beef that LinkedIn and X have with each other. And it's a really, really fun episode. Go check it out. That whole podcast is very interesting. Anyway, but when people on X complain about LinkedIn, I think that is a very specific, it's not rage baiting, but it is, I don't know what it is on X it's shit posting. That's that. And I will agree to swear on my LinkedIn because the actual technical term for what that is shit posting. And X, and that is a particular culture that no other social media platform in this industry really understands. I mean, there's shit posters on the platform. Again, guys, this is a technical term. I would openly say this if I was teaching a seminar, which maybe I should. Anyway, so school group on internet culture. But so there's two things that are happening there is that because somebody's dismissing something that other people also dismiss. And then so it's like sort of like a boys club, right? So like, oh, I'm going to complain about how stupid these people are. And you want to know what? It's actually not any different than when other commercial real estate people make fun of anybody for using social media. And so it's this kind of weird, like, there's levels to that. Anyway, so here's the other thing. Is that I do think that I understand where it comes from because sometimes the culture on LinkedIn can feel a little, it can feel, in fact, yeah. What? Wait, what?
Stuffy.
It can feel stuffy. It can feel trite. It can feel contrived. It can feel manufactured. It can feel just like really superficial. And I think that on the one hand, I think that a lot of vapid people exist in the world. Sorry, I'm just going to say it. But then on the other hand, I do just think it is, when everybody gets annoyed about the humbled and the honored and the superficial content, I do think that it's a skill issue. I don't think it's a moral issue. And so they treat it like a moral issue, but it's not. It's a skill about writing.
Yes.
And 100%. It reeks sour grapes because you want to know what people are on LinkedIn ripping deals. And your LinkedIn doesn't perform as well as you. Oh, ew, a little sour grapes there, sirs and madams, which that's okay. So that's my take on what the heck. Not what the heck. My take on what the heck is just hearts all around. Hector, I love you. All right, let's get back on track.
No, but you were 100% correct. I absolutely love what you just said about that. It is the fact that it is sour grapes. People are ripping deals. And if again, it goes back to your feed is a reflection of you and what you're paying attention to. So what we're talking about today is LinkedIn. There was a new report that just dropped. We did the research and the data on it and pulled the stats and how it applies to commercial real estate. So one of the interesting things that I found from here is that LinkedIn's engagement rate is 5.2%. What does that mean? So when Fly and I talk to clients, we're trying to get them 10% organic engagement rate. Why 10%? Because I know and Fly knows that the engagement rate for most social media is generally less than 4%. And there was a stat floating around from LinkedIn a couple years ago that 70% of every single LinkedIn post never receives a reaction, never receives a comment, never receives a repost, nothing. 70% of all content on LinkedIn doesn't get anything happening to it. So if your content is not being received, welcome to the club, one, but two, this also means that you need to actually start growing your community. So the breakdown tells us that engagement rate right now is 5.2%. This is actually good. This is very, very good. Again, most organic engagement rate is less than 4%. I think on X, it's like 1.2. the engagement rate. So if you're like having a blast over on X, kudos to you. You're doing better than the rest of the people that are on there that are posting. So what's actually working on LinkedIn right now? So native documents are getting the highest engagement. What is a native document, right? It is a PDF. However, there is a caveat to this. Over the last couple of months, PDFs have been giving us a gray circle of death when they're being uploaded and being seen. Now, I always recommend that if you're going to do a carousel, you upload it as a PDF so people can actually swipe through. There's also an additional little special thing about that. If you have a PDF that you upload, you can actually put embedded links in that PDF document, whether it's an email address, whether it's a website link, whatever the hell it is that you want to put in there, you can embed something in there and then people download that. That is fabulous. You want to do that. Again, there has been a glitch with PDF uploads on LinkedIn, gray circle of death. So you start going through content and that's all you see. I do not know if they have fixed that because I'm still seeing it happen intermittently. So just be aware if you do upload a PDF, that could happen. Do not freak out. Eventually it will show back up, right? But yeah, it can look not professional. It can look not good. You can still upload just a regular slide, like a regular PNG. Do that. That's fine. But if you want that downloadable asset, if you want to be able to embed links or a website, definitely do that. Carousels get the most Why? Carousels get the most likes because they're interactive and people can actually swipe through on them, right? That's the reason why. And free value is 100% winning. Again, giving away, it's that whole idea, Gary Vaynerchuk, jab, 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 right hook, right? 10% engagement to 4%. It's like, no matter how many better.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, I think that, there are, when people start complaining or getting worried or whatever it is, or reading the analytics and trying to understand what they mean. I think Dwayne's comment about batting averages, I mean, it's just like you have to step up to the plate like so many times and it's not all going to work. And so like, and this is where it gets really funny for me because I know like, especially the cold call boys are all like baseball, like romance, like I love how much people care. Terracottas, they're doing their cold call, like March Madness right now. And I love the romance of the game. You know what I mean? Of sport. And so, I know that to all of those kind of guys that the idea of the romance of the batting average and the number of attempts and like the enormity of all of it, like they get that. And then they get annoyed when nobody likes their LinkedIn post. Just like, and it's, you guys gotta, anyway.
And that's where I think when you've been doing this long enough, you have to remove that, what's the word I'm looking for? Emotion, right? I could write a banger post that I think is amazing and it gets bupkis. And it's instead of sitting there thinking like, oh my God, I suck. It's like, okay, well, this didn't perform well. Oh, well, go on to the next post, right? If you're not posting consistently, that is also a huge cold call boys romance.
I love that. I do. I love it. I love it. Like, I look at Carson Baird and Ian Strude and I'm just like, oh gosh, great bromance film. It could be Step Brothers, right? But I do think you want to know what I think it is. And so it's a little bit of an unfair comparison. And this is actually on topic, is that the failures and the rejections and all the things that, come up with having a cold call, it's all only a witness of one. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think that, so I think that there's a couple things happening with the inability to endure the stuff not performing or like whatever that is. I mean, it's the consistency. And then it's also that it feels very public. Right. Because like I've literally had, clients in the past, well, and, they're not, anyway, to be no current active clients, be like, oh, this didn't get likes. This didn't get enough likes, delete it. Or it's like, oh, we're going to need to buy followers so that when people come to the page, they're not seeing that they're only the second follower or something. And I'm just like, you can't go into this, you're not going to make it. It's the same thing, but I do. So it's an unfair comparison because it feels very public. even if nobody, and nobody, here's the thing, nobody's looking, nobody cares. Are those kind of some things that are, we should unpack that sometime. But yeah, the consistency and what are you, and then so pivoting back to what's actually working, what, you've talked about formats. What are some of the other, like, what else besides formats is working?
So you still want to provide the information. You're just going to have to change up how you do that, right? So if you're going to put out a market report, turn it into a carousel. Exactly. Can you imagine if every New York Yankee player concerned themselves with Aaron Judge on the team? 100%. It's the comparison is a killer, right? Like if you're trying to play everybody else's game, what happens to yours? Right?
Ooh.
So turn those market reports into carousels. There is one thing that I would like to mention about that, though. Do not put a ton of information on a slide, because nobody can read that. And particularly, this actually goes over more to Instagram. Like, so many people want to put so much information on there. You can't. Like, nobody's going to be reading little tiny text. Now, I'm super nosy, so I'll be like, how bad is this? This is really bad, right? Like, this is really bad. I'm like the worst for that.
It's like a train wreck and you can't look away.
Right.
Like, I know that when you see that, I know you're just like, oh God, God.
Jonathan Papik has joined us over on the gram. Good morning. So you want to turn that into carousels. You don't want to put all the information on there. You want to put the highlights, right? Because the rest of the content should go into the copy. And I want to talk about copy in a success story that I talked about yesterday with a client of ours. I will get back to that. For site selection, if you're doing site selection, if you're talking about site selection, create something that talks about the frameworks for that site selection, right? Everybody does the same stuff. Basically, you're not giving away any secret sauce, but you are providing valuable information that is indexable. Remember, that is the word we're using for the year, indexable by the search engines and the answer engines. And then you also want to create guides, right? People love, for some odd reason, actually, I should shut up because I love them too. Like, I literally just went through like her name is Courtney LaFosse, I think is her last name. Okay. I'm probably screwing that up, but she's on Instagram. She used to work for big real estate dude. She was his social media manager. I forget his name. Tom Ferris. Anyway, she's doing her own thing now. She's not working with him. She's growing her social media stuff, but she always has really good content on Instagram. So I was actually reading through like her carousel today. Again, if you look at her carousel, that is the proper way to do that. You were giving good big, you can read it right away. You don't have to make it big just to be able to read it. And she's putting the highlights on there. Everything else is in the copy of the post. So now going to talking about in the copy of the post. I did a post yesterday talking about a success from a client. And let me just explain to you what happened. Been working with a client for about 6 months. We've been working with their professional, like their business page on LinkedIn, not their personal pages, but their business page. We have been creating content specifically to what they do in the industry. And I have calls with my clients on Mondays and Fridays, sitting with them with their call. And first and foremost, he goes, Mo, we got you a referral. We're sending this to you. And I was like, awesome. Swing. This is great. I love referrals, right? And then he goes, 2, we got called by a lawyer. And I was like, oh. Right? Like, am I like, are we getting sued? Like, did I post something I wasn't supposed to? Like, what's going on here? And he goes, we got contacted. Good morning, Brandon Weiss, joining us over on the gram. He says, we got contacted by a lawyer out of Canada. And I was like, are we talking like Nigerian prince thing? Like, what's going on? Right? Like, cause it was an email, right? So guy says, we represent developers and owners in Canada and the United States. We're having challenges getting funding here in Canada. So we are branching out to look. We want to, talk to you guys. And So he does his research because, again, it sounds so just like out there, like randomly receive an email from a lawyer in Canada. Like, what the hell?
But that's
does the research, and legit company, legit lawyer, gets him on the phone. Guy says, I found you. He goes, I did a Google search, right? Did a Google search, didn't like what was coming up in just the normal Google search. So then I clicked Google AI and you guys started popping up. Your LinkedIn started popping up. Your content started popping up. We haven't touched their website. Their website's pretty much dormant. I mean, it exists. It hasn't really been updated. So we know it's not the content that's going on the website because, as we all know, with websites, you have to update them regularly for them to show up in the search engines. Yeah. However, we have been optimizing their social content for bridge loans, for construction loans, for the stuff that they specialize in. And that's what got found. Now, what is so cool about this? We're talking 1.5 billion with the B, 1.5 billion potential in loans for them. So,
unreal.
Consistently posting for the last 6 months, talking about their target market, talking about exactly what it is that they do, how they differentiate themselves. We share their success stories of how they're getting stuff funded. I mean, it's kind of like, to me, like, I was over the freaking moon because here are guys who are not seeing a lot of engagement happening on their page, right? They're not seeing a lot happening. But because we made that content all indexable and we're answering questions that need to be answered, that shit got picked up by AI. And they got a call from a guy who's like, I have a lot of deals that need to get funded and we want to work with you. So now, yes, sorry.
Quick conspiracy theory.
I love a conspiracy theory. Let me put my tin hat on.
Here's the deal. Microsoft owns LinkedIn, and Microsoft Copilot right now is like climbing through the ranks like a bat out of hell. Okay. And I'm just like, so it's very interesting to me that, like, you know, indexability is something that is becoming important, and those two things and how are you picking up what I'm laying down right now? I'm 100%. Just like, the more you're on LinkedIn, the thing that's owned by the company who has an LLM that is coming up, I'm just saying, I'm gonna watch that. Okay, got it. But yeah, engagement's not the only thing, and people get so effed up about the engagement. All right,
they do. They get enamored by engagement. They get enamored by impressions. They get enamored by followers. And I had to remind a client like a couple days ago, I'm not concerned about your follower count. Do we want to see it increase? Yes, 100%. I want to see it increase. However, I'm not looking to get you, 5,000 new followers in a month, because then that means to me that we're hitting the wrong target market.
Yeah.
Your content's not hitting where it's supposed to. If we have a bunch of marketers in India that are now following you, but you sell commercial real estate in New Jersey, like, how is that? How are you going to transact with those people? We're looking at the people that you are most likely to transact with, not the people who are most likely to like you or your content. So next up, video. Video is still important on LinkedIn. However, you need to make sure that you are creating copy that is indexable for that video. Once again, the captions that you put on your video have to be easy to read, right? Captions, titles that go on there. I know everybody loves all the flowery fonts to put on stuff. Oh, it's so pretty. You can't read it. Stop doing that. That's why everything's in freaking Arial and I was going to say Comic Sans and Arial, Montserrat. What's the other one? Open Sans. These are fonts.
You want to know what? If you want to get fancy with your fonts, go post on your Instagram stories. I'm just like, do it. That's great. But I'm just okay.
Yeah, exactly. So your stuff needs to be easily readable by everything, because the AI is capturing that. It is trying to read that. It can't necessarily watch your video, but it can read the captions that go across and the titles and stuff that you put on. And next up, LinkedIn is not TikTok. So you have to be aware, like, now I'm not saying that you shouldn't repurpose your content, but don't treat the platforms exactly the same, because the platforms are not the same. They are different. There are different cultures. There are different communities. And so you need to be aware of that. Start supporting the insight of the video, right? If your video is about company culture, then the post should be about company culture. The post shouldn't be about something completely different, right? So there's that. And then also the next thing, you don't need to overproduce your videos for it to look good. I think that's a big mental block for a lot of people.
You guys have no idea what Mo's been having to deal with at all. Anyway,
80%. If we can get it,
I think we should talk about that. That itself should be Thursday, unless we have another plan.
We do have another plan. We have Joe Killinger coming on Thursday. Joe Killinger will be talking about his network, his affiliate network. And then I don't know if y'all know this, but Joe Killinger has 45,000 subscribers on YouTube that he has grown. Joe Killinger. Okay. So we're going to be talking to him about how he grew his YouTube following, how important that is for him, why YouTube is important right now, especially when we're talking about indexability. And then, of course, we're going to be talking about the affiliate network. So Joe Killinger on Thursday, 6:30. So stop overproducing your video. This stops a lot of people. They're like, oh, well, okay, look at what Strip Mall Guy is doing. Look what Don Tepman's doing. He's literally walking down the street, has his phone. They've got some captions on there. It is not an overly produced video. Look at what Bob is doing when he does his walks down the street. It's a walk. It's literally a freaking walk down the street. It's him. His camera's right here. You can sometimes see up his nose. It doesn't matter. It's him right there, talking to you as he's walking down the street, talking about what's happening in the market, talking about something that caught his eye. But it's not overly produced, right? It's exactly the way that it needs to be. You feel like you're in the moment. And I guess that's what I want to put out there, is people want to feel like they're in the moment with you. The overly produced stuff, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's fabulous. I love the production quality. But is it the highest and best use of your time if you're doing it on your own? And if you're not doing it on your own and you have somebody else producing it for you, is it the highest and best use of their time? Or could you be producing more content at scale because you're getting it to 80% and saying, this is good enough, let's get it out. So, all right. Stop doing lazy content. Let's not do lazy content anymore. Let's not, mark off like, oh, okay, well, I posted to LinkedIn today, so I'm good to go. What you want to do is you want to talk about your deal breakdowns. You want to interpret the market. You want client-centered storytelling. It is about them. It is not about you. It is about them and their stories and what they need. This is like story brand 101, right? The client is the hero. You are the guide. And if you don't know story brand and you haven't read Building Your Story Brand by Donald Miller, highly recommend. Very practical. 100% should use it. There's a new one out, Building a Story Brand 2.0. Read it. Pay attention to it. The concepts are really simple to follow, but it's really that your client.
Keep it simple. Right there. And that was perfect timing. Anyway,
it was perfect timing. Serendipitous. That is such a good word. That's such a fun word to say. Anyway, so you have to keep it simple and you have to remember who the actual hero of the story is. It is not you. And that is a big challenge that I do see with a lot of content that goes across all platforms, is the story ends up becoming about the person who's posting, not about the person they're trying to reach. Now, if your brand is all about you, then that's 100% okay, because you are the hero of your story, right? Like let's not mince words about that. But if you're trying to reach a specific target market, The story is about them. So there's that. So how do we create this? What does this mean to bring it down through your funnel? So Fly and I talk about the funnel, right? We talk about top of mind awareness. Your top of funnel is your awareness. That's where you're going to be on your social media. This is where you're going to be creating stuff so that people are aware of you. Then the next step is to bring them down middle of funnel to your website or someplace where they can download something that they have to give you an email address to pop into your CRM, which is the bottom of the funnel. The bottom of the funnel is, and not to knock on all of our friends who are at big brokerage businesses, but who owns your list? If you leave tomorrow, who owns your list? How do they get in touch with you? Like, this is huge. Like, you know, going back to when I got fired from the company that I was working for, I didn't have any of those contacts because it was all in my email. I never thought to download my contacts and then upload them to my own CRM. It just wasn't a thought. So all the industry connections that I made, which I will say, Mr. Chuck Norris passed away recently, and I was in talks with him and his company. I was actually talked to his wife several times. She is a wonderful woman, about doing a sponsorship with him and sponsoring him for our company. And I got fired right as we were doing those negotiations. So that project never went anywhere because nobody ever picked it up. And I had built a personal relationship with her. But guess what? I didn't have her freaking email address.
I mean, it's just devastating, right? And like, look, how many times have, not to drag TikTok, into this again, but it's just, it's like it could go away at any time, right? It could go away at any time. Same thing with LinkedIn, honestly, so these guys, I'm winding up for another rant and we're already over time. Get it. You need that information. You need a way. You need to own the relationship, and that's that's what's tough about it is that I have seen, that those relationships disappear because of those kinds of events. Deals, it can be the difference between getting a deal done and not.
100%. Yep. So you need to figure out how you're going to be able to get that into your CRM. And as we talk about that, the other important thing, as Fly just said, the relationships, right? So the conversations that you're having, the DMs that you're doing, how is that happening? Because now the LinkedIn algorithm is actually paying attention to those things. We already know Instagram is prioritizing DM conversations. Now LinkedIn is saying that they are going to they're starting to prioritize those conversations as well. And regular conversations that you're having within like the actual app where you are going back and forth, having conversation, stuff like that, on post. And so that's super important. The other metric that I think you guys need to be looking at is saves and sends. You go into your analytics, you go into your engagement, and you look at saves and sends. If content is being sent and it's being saved, it will show you. It doesn't show you who is doing the saving and the sending. But if you have, that would be great if it did.
Maybe what you want to know what? Here, I'll cause some problems. I would not mind that as a paid feature. But, that's getting a little surveilly for, I'm sure.
That would be huge though. Imagine if you had one, it was your competition that was saving and sending, or two, if it was potential prospects that are saving and sending. That would be huge.
It's just interesting information, and the visibility of that, if somebody, if you knew that was being tracked and that was data being sold, would you use the platform? I'm not trying to be evil. I'm just saying, like, that is interesting information that would be very rich data to understand, but it's okay.
And we already know that they're using all of the content that we post as fodder for their own AIs. So that shouldn't be a surprise. And we know that Meta is 100% reading all of your conversations and DMs that you're having in chats, and they're using that to train their AI.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, the Wi-Fi can map where you are in your house, guys. All right, like, it's not, every conspiracy theory is coming true. So,
We've all got
it's just like we're in the end game now. So just like ride with it, baby. Don't let the fear of the future keep you from getting some deals done by being on social media. All right.
That actually could be an entire show right
banging today. We're just cooking.
So, all right. So what I want you guys to do this week, I want you to create some carousels and get them posted. I want you to create an insight that only you have that information, or it's something that you've noticed. Provide that from your perspective. If you have the ability and you've been on a podcast, get a podcast clip. But remember, don't just post the clip. Actually write something that is going to go with that clip that's indexable. You need to know what your content pillars are, and you need to start creating reports or guides that go along with that. And on a daily basis, you need to be commenting on posts, other people's posts. I make a joke about it saying OPP. Yeah, you know me, right? Like, it's other people's posts. And if you don't get that joke, you are way too freaking
Maybe that should be, there's something in there for the Dwayne Burress, Fly Jamerson. Who was the other person we needed to add into that podcast? I'll watch the tape. But there's something about OPP, and it'll be like about social media, but then also like music and cinema.
That would be fabulous.
We're gonna do it. I'm serious. I'm not kidding.
So
I am. Okay, sorry. Go on. We got
no. We're gonna. I was gonna wrap up, but go ahead.
Nope.
If your content doesn't teach, if it's not educating, if it's not entertaining, if it's not engaging, it is not traveling through the interwebs. And if it doesn't travel, you're invisible. And we don't want that. If you guys have questions about your social media strategy, if you want to know if what you're doing is good, DM us. Our DMs are open. And if you want to learn about the whole marketing ecosystem, come join our VIP school group. We would love to have you. We do have a webinar that's coming up in May. And I'm excited to share that. We're actually going to be going through LinkedIn. We're going to be giving out AI prompts on how to build your LinkedIn so that it is indexable. That webinar is coming up in May. Not going to happen in April because I'm traveling way too damn much.
There's a lot. There's the gala is upon us.
The gala is upon us.
Gala month, guys. Okay.
If you are watching the replay and you are a woman who is going to the gala in New York City on April 23rd, Bethany Babcock and I will be hosting the women's breakfast. So I believe James Shields is going to be helping with that. We still have to get everything together, but if you are attending, you are a woman, Bethany Babcock and I are doing the women's breakfast. We'll be sending out an email trying to get that information out. We will see you back here on Thursday at 6:30 a.m. Pacific, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. And Joe Killinger is going to be our guest. Can't wait to see you guys. We'll see you then. Bye. Climb like your buildings within. No time to waste. You got deals to close. Mobile's got your back. Making